So this is a tutorial on how to cut a princess dart, how to do a princess, some people call it princess bustier. So it says a princess bustier or princess dart. So the measurements needed is, you need the back I'm working with is 7.5, the bust point is 9.5, the underbust length 12.5, bust circumference 34, underbust circumference 28, waist circumference 29, and the waist length is 16.5. So these are the measurements needed. So the first thing is the waist length. The waist length, this is the border line. So I'm going to mark the waist length 16.5. So I'll mark 16.5. 16.5. So I'm going to rule it out. So after marking the waist length 16.5, the next thing is the bust point, all the other points needed. So the bust points need here is 9.5. So I'm going to mark the bust point 9.5 and the under bust length 12.5. So I'm going to do that here also. 9.5, 12.5. 9.5, 12.5. So I'm going to rule out. All these points are very, very necessary. All these points. So then the underbust point 12.5. So having that, the next thing is the back. The back is 7.5. So I'm going to mark the 7.5. For the shoulder slant for the front, I'm going to use 1.5. So the standard neck I'm using is 3 by 3. So connect the neck. This neck can be changed to the neck that you want, to the preferred neck later. So I'm going to do the shoulder slant. So the next thing is to calculate my shoulder depth, the armhole depth. How do you calculate your armhole depth? To calculate your armhole depth is the bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. So the bust I'm working with here is 34. So I'm going to divide 34 divided by 6 plus 1.5. So what would that give us? So 34 divided by 6 plus 1.5 is 7.1. So I'm going to mark that here, 7.1. So that is the armhole depth. So this is 7.1. So you can just have a perpendicular line here. So that is our armhole. Now you are going to divide this into 2. That will be 3.05. So around here, then you come in by 0.75 to have a perfect armhole. Then connect it. Here the bust divided by, here you just have the bust divided by 4. That is 34 divided by 4 will give me 8.5. So I have my 8.5 here. Then you just connect it together like this. So I have my perfect armhole. So the next thing is the nipple to nipple. So I'm going to have my nipple to nipple, which is 3.5. So you are going to take, you can take the measurement for your client. That is one nipple to the nipple. We call it the bust span. So the bust span is 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So I'm going to take the 3.5 here, 3.5 on the bust point 2. Then you connect it together. So that is the line. So on the underbust line, I'm going to take the total dart intake that I want to take here is 2 inches. The total dart intake that I want to take for this princess dart is 2 inches. So we have 2 ways to do it. You can as well take 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Then on your waistline, you take 1 inch, 1 inch. That will be the total 2 inches that I'm going to take. Then you connect it together like this. So this is the first method. The second method is that you can split these 2 inches unequally. That is, closer to the bust, to the middle point, I will take half inch. Then at this side, I will take 1.5 here, 1.5 here. Just to make sure that the total dart intake that you are taking is not more than 2 inches. You can even take lesser than that. So from this point, so I'm going with the first method for now. So from this point, you are going to connect it using the curved part to the bust point, just like this. Then the second part also, you are going to connect it using the curved part. So having got that, then you come to the midpoint here. You are going to connect this cup, you are going to connect it to this place. So just like this, using your curved French cuff. So I'm just going to connect it just like this. So the next thing is you can just extend this line, extend it up by at least 2 inches. You can extend it up by 2 inches like this. So have it here, extend it a bit. So then we have differences of just half inch here. So you connect it back to this place. So this is what is called the princess dart. So the next thing is just to complete our measurement. So at this bust point, we have 8.5, which is 34. Our bust divided by 4 plus 1. Then you take your allowance. You add allowance of 2 inches here. So at the underbust we are having is 28. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. So that means the total number that we have here should not be more than 7. So here I have 2.5. 7 minus 2.5, it remains 4.5. So I'm going to place my 4.5 here. So then at the waist we have 29 divided by 4, that is 7.225. So I already have 2.5 here, so I'm going to have 4.75 here. This is a pattern. Every other allowances, like the seam allowance, will be added later when you are cutting your fabric. So you just connect all these lines together like this. So with this, we have our princess dart. So before then, you just don't forget to connect to this extension like this. So this is our princess, how to draft our princess. And so you can change this to your desired neckline, the scoop, the V, any desired neckline that you want. So this is how to draft your princess dart. I hope you gained something from this class. Do not forget to comment, like, and follow for more tips like this. Bye bye.